Good evening. You are listening to the Fumblerooski Podcast by Power 88 and Fans Only Sports Network. I'm Adam Wright with Justin Tucker and Justin Hill. So we have the Justins with you today and myself. And we have a couple things to talk about regarding the football world. And we're going to start with the Packers, who extended Jaire Alexander. He's their top corner, Pro Bowl, in fact, borderline all-pro caliber corner, one of the best corners in the league since he's come up. He did miss most of last season, but once he came back, he was basically himself. And so the contract is 4 years, $84 million. So what do you guys think of this contract extension that the Packers gave their star corner?
Well, I believe he was deserving of the contract. I believe the years is agreeable. I believe the money is worth it. Maybe a little too much in the first year in comparison to like a Jalen Ramsey and Denzel Ward and Marlon Humphrey. But again, overall, I agree with the contract. It was key for the Packers to keep him for the defense and keep some semblance of that defense, even though they just lost Zadarius Smith to a divisional rival. So, yeah, it was ideal and key for them to keep him, and he'll be a Green Bay Packer for years to come. Great signing or great extension.
All right, Jay Hill.
Thanks, Adam. It definitely was a great extension, Adam and Justin. I say this, why? Because look at the Packers offseason. The Packers, they're able to re-sign their Hall of Fame quarterback of Aaron Rodgers. Yes, they lost Davante Adams. I'll miss his name at the moment, but to be able to extend Jaire Alexander, knowing that he's one of the best corners in football besides Jalen Ramsey, top three at least. But at the same time, like, this is a great move for the Green Bay Packers. And looking at this, let's see how the future tells. Like, there's been like the Packers, they're doing a lot regarding their defense, such as in the draft and like a little bit during free agency. But at the same time, this is a great move, and I'm pretty pleased to what the Packers were able to do regarding this, knowing that there wasn't no financial issues with this.
So you do raise an interesting point, Jay Hill, and which was kind of what I was going to segue into, is that it appears the Packers, with what they've done this offseason, they traded away Davante Adams, and they went defense heavy in this draft, using both of their first round picks on defense. They already had a very deep secondary, and now they re-signed their top corner. It leaves me to believe that they might be looking to go with a more defense first caliber team, and just sort of having Aaron Rodgers kind of game manage. And I'm sure he'll put up some sort of statistics. He always finds a way to do that. And maybe from between now and opening day, they find their number one receiver, but they don't really have much at that receiver position, which is part of what has me scratching my head about this contract, is that your top priority really should be with receiver, because they don't really have much there. They got Sammy Watkins, and they do have Alan Lazard, and besides that, that's basically it. They have Robert Tonyan. I believe he's still on the team. And besides that, they don't have much on the offensive side of the ball. And you just got your star quarterback, who was very, very on the fence about coming back. You get him to come back, and then you didn't surround him with any weapons. But I am intrigued with the fact that they are surrounding them with a little bit of defense here, and going with a defense and running the ball scheme, and just having Aaron Rodgers game manage. I'm very surprised that Aaron Rodgers would be on board with this, as quarterbacks would love to pad their stats and put up statistics, but it's intriguing. I am interested to see how they do this season.
I think they'll do fairly well in the NFC North. I think it just comes down to them and the Vikings. Me and Adam talked about it before, and the Vikings pose the most imminent threat to the Packers in retaining their division status. The Bears aren't where they should be. They just took a step back in getting rid of Khalil Mack, so that defense will take a hit. And Justin Fields, I believe, is still developing, so we'll wait and see on him. And Detroit's Detroit. We like the improvements so far, but until we see them on the field, we can only just say Detroit is Detroit. we wish them all the best, but they're not competing for the division for this season at least. So it comes down to Minnesota and the Packers, and I think the only advantages that the Vikings have over the Packers is in the receiving core because Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, they had that over most receiving cores. So I think what it comes down to mostly is the quarterback play. And I think Aaron Rodgers can outplay Kirk Cousins at least one out of the two. And I think that might be enough to win the division.
See, I disagree. So I agree with you in the sense that it's going to come down to Green Bay and Minnesota. I disagree on who's going to come out on top with that division. I think Minnesota has the upper hand in everywhere except on the defensive side of the ball, and Minnesota has become more respectable over this offseason on that side. And in the rushing game, I would put advantage Minnesota. In the receiving game, it's not even close with Minnesota on top. I guess tight end, but is that really an important position? And I guess quarterback, obviously quarterback, because Kirk Cousins is not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but I just have Minnesota. They're the better overall team. They're more well-rounded, and I think they're going to come out on top in the division this year. Green Bay will be better than we think they'll be, but they're not going to win the division. I just don't have them. Maybe they'll make the playoffs as a wild card team, but that's about it.
You guys make excellent points. If you look at this situation here, you guys, regarding with the defense of what they've upgraded this offseason, the Packers, let's not forget, they're versing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. They're versing the Kansas City Chiefs. They're versing a defensive Eagles team. They're versing a lot of great teams, and plus in their division. But in my eyes, I see the Packers winning the division as usual, like we just said before, Justin. To go against Detroit. I think you said Chicago and Detroit, Chicago, and I'm forgetting the last team that's in the division.
Chicago and Detroit are a couple of years away from contention. It's the Packers and the Vikings, so it's really going to come down to.
And if you look at this here, like when you're like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you want to win now. You've developed a great relationship with your coach and an offensive coach regarding wide receivers. Now you need to look forward to the future regarding what is the defense going to look. You have the statistics, you have the arm, you have the ability to what to do, but at the same exact time, need to start extending guys who need not need the money, but need to be noticed around your team. And that's mostly, and I always say, defense always wins championships. Not to go off topic.
No, that's not off topic because that's what we're talking about. It looks like they're centering their team more around their defense and running the ball, and they do have a very exceptional running game between and I'm forgetting the two kids they have, but they're pretty good. Remind me their I'm really blanking on their names. But they have two very solid players to rush the ball, and they also have a good defense.
AJ Dillon.
Yes, you're right. I don't know how I blanked on those guys, but they have AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. So you have those two, and you have the defense. They'll be competitive, but they're not going to. They're just Minnesota's just a better team. And they worked on that defense this offseason. They got Andrew Booth, and they got that kid in the first round who's the safety. It's just Minnesota's just the better team. They are just all around receiving game, and at the receiving game for Green Bay, it's just a massive hole. It's not even that they have a couple pieces. It's just there's really nothing there. Alan Lazard has had his moments, and Sammy Watkins was good, but he's not really. But he's kind of more of a wide receiver 3 at best. You don't have much there, and the Vikings have a clear advantage there. They have the advantage on in the rushing game, and they have a better line. I just think that team's better, top to bottom.
That's fair. The last thing I'm going to say about this in regards to Green Bay's receiving core, they just drafted a receiver out of North Dakota State and Christian Watson. So I want to see how good he is. He had a drop problem in college, but as far as long speed and being a deep threat, yeah, he's that dude. So we'll see how he pans out with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So as far as the receiving problem, they did try to at least address it in the draft. Not in the first round, but like they always do in the second round.
Yeah, certainly. We'll see what ends up happening. Time will tell to see just how good this Packers team is and how they stack up with the Minnesota Vikings and perhaps maybe the Detroit Lions or Chicago Bears. We'll see what happens. But time will also tell to see what will become of Drew Brees' future. How he was let go from NBC and hints that he's left the door open for a possible unretirement. We'll talk about that next. This is the Fumblerooski Podcast.
Here's Edelman broken up, and the pass is no sign yet. Edelman comes down with a football. They're saying it's a catch. It's caught! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Swings it way down the field to Watkins! Sammy Watkins for the touchdown!
You are listening to the Fumblerooski Podcast. I'm Adam Wright, Justin Tucker, Justin Hill with you, and we were just talking about a little bit of Packers stuff with Jaire Alexander signing to a 4-year, $84 million contract, and we're now going to get into Drew Brees, who was just let go from NBC as their analyst. Reports kind of said that he was, from ratings, he was kind of, people didn't really like him there, wasn't really doing a great job. And he tweeted, and I'll bring up exactly what he said. So he said, and I'll bring it up. Despite speculation from media about my future this fall, I'm currently undecided. I may work for NBC. I may play football again. I may focus on business and philanthropy. I may train my kids for the pickleball. Excuse me. I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids for all of the above. I'll let you know. So he's kind of left the door open for really anything. But what are you guys' thoughts on Drew Brees and what he might do in the coming up?
J.O.
You know, I have a lot of things that it's been on my mind for the past couple of days, but here it is. Drew Christopher Brees. So, in my opinion, he did do a good job on NBC. I'm not gonna lie. He was a great announcer before the games, doing a little bit of interviewing. He did a lot of great interviews. I remember he interviewed Tom Brady. I remember he interviewed Patrick Mahomes before a game, looking at Drew Brees. He was a great sideline reporter, a quick game. I remember he did something during the Patriots game when the Buccaneers were the Patriots, including during the Super Bowl, we're talking with Al Michaels. But however, looking at Drew Brees, hearing that he wants to come back to National Football League, in my eyes, you need to stick to being a family man. And I say it because, you look at Drew Brees, this guy from in the 2010s, he failed either way. It's time for him to stay home and just be a family man. You look at his career, he had a tremendous career. I'm not gonna lie, but let's not forget, folks. People want to look at statistics in baseball and football. People want to look at statistics regarding Drew Brees and how much of a better quarterback people say he was better against Tom Brady. But in my eyes, he was nowhere close to Tom Brady. And for him to wanting to return to football, it's mind blowing. But I would like to hear what you guys had to say before I have more to say.
First off, who the hell is comparing Drew Brees to Tom Brady and then saying, you know what, Drew Brees is the better quarterback. I need names because this is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong.
I just want to talk.
He is a great quarterback, but in comparison to Tom Brady, sorry, can't let that slide. Tom Brady now has better statistics than Drew Brees, and he has a far better career than Drew Brees. So I can't agree with this comparison. What I will say is this: like I said to Tom Brady, stay ass home. Don't come back. Just stay home. We saw what you look like towards the tail end of your career. You were falling off because of the injury. You probably feel like, hey, the injury's now past me. I feel healthier. I feel spry. Look at Tom Brady. Maybe I can do that. No, don't do it, because the moment you come back and you take that hit again, it's over for you. Just like it's going to be over for Tom when he takes that hit. And I'll be waiting to see if he can actually survive it. I don't think Drew Brees can take those same hits anymore. I think it'll be costly if he ever comes back again. I think he's fortunate to come out of the game with the best of health considering the circumstances, and I think he should stay out the game because, my God, where's he going to go? New Orleans? Don't do that. If you're going to go to a team, at least go to a team that's successful, but I don't think any team that's successful wants him because they already have a franchise quarterback. So with that being said, just stay home. Just raise your kids, enjoy your life, be a good commentator. Don't play football. No disrespect.
I'm not even going to take the comparisons to Tom Brady seriously because come on. I don't even need to say anything about that. But I just want to address his performance on NBC because it is because I look at analysts a lot differently than others because this is my career path. This is something that I want to do. And as talk show hosts, and I think you guys can all agree that if you think that it's going to be like just sitting around the lunch table with your friends talking sports, you're wrong. It's actually a lot harder than you think what we do. Being a host on any sort of show, it is very, very tough. And it was his first year, and he was only recruited to NBC because of his name. Because his name's Drew Brees. He is known for his play in football, not for his football analysis. Not that he doesn't know a lot about football. I'm just saying, just cut the guy a break, because you look at what it's just his first year. I mean, if you guys, anybody listening right now, go once you're done listening to this episode, go and look at our first episode. It's only published on YouTube, but go and look at our first episode. I sucked. I was reading off of our rundown the entire time. And a couple episodes in, I had to start writing down what I was going to say because I just didn't feel comfortable with being behind the mic. There's extra pressure. It's tough doing what we do. And I'm just saying, like, it was his first year. Give him some time. And I even hold the same standard towards Booger McFarland. And I know a lot in ESPN, and I know a lot of people like to jump on him and give him business because of his analysis. Again, another guy who is not well known for his football analysis. He's known for his football career. So why are we getting on this guy for in his first couple of years here having to be good at speaking behind a camera, because that's really tough. It's really tough. And I'll quickly address him hinting at possible unretirement. You can't compare him to Brady, and you can't compare it because Tom Brady has been playing at a high level and he hasn't really fallen off at all. Drew Brees, by the time he retired, he may not have been like Peyton Manning at the end of his career, but he certainly was not what he was in his prime. And his career was barely hanging by a thread. He was okay, but you could clearly tell that injuries were starting to get to him. He wasn't throwing the ball like he used to. It's just not the same. He should not come out of retirement, and I don't think anybody would really want him. Somebody might take him, but he's not going to play well. Just stay retired and look for some sort of other media job. Don't give up Drew Brees. I'm rooting for you, dude.
I love what you guys are saying with this, and I love what you said out in regard, like us, since we're both sports broadcasting majors ourselves, we're trying to be in the business. Well, it takes a lot of effort from us each and every day of what we have to do to try to earn something. You have guys, you have people, men and women still in their like 30s and 40s trying to earn a career spot in the top broadcasting fields, but seeing like athletes like Drew Brees and stuff, like knowing that he's played the game of football and just 1 year, just get a broadcast, a sideline job, and then just like after 1 year, NBC telling him he wants to leave. Like this shows like why, like, not saying like television, but like in general, they need ratings. But not say, but regarding with this here, you two make an excellent point. Like Drew Brees' career was going downfall before when Tom Brady joined the NFC. And when you look at this situation here, Drew Brees needs to stay home. He needs to stay home. And you look at his injuries from that last game he had, it was brutal. He threw maybe 4 or 5 picks, including in that season. He turned over the ball mostly throughout that whole last season. But I know Justin has to say some things. So that's all I have to say with the situation.
Man, just keep collecting them AARP checks, man. Just keep doing it. It's nice to retire. Just enjoy the good life on the other side. Don't try to go back. Just enjoy those checks, man. I appreciate it.
Did we not just establish last episode that you can't collect your AARP card until age 50?
The way he was looking during that last season, he looked 55.
Oh, he sure did. His career was hanging by. It looked like he had a noodle arm back there. But I mean, to say like 50 years old, I mean, Tom Brady's closer to that age, and he might play until that age. Imagine playing in the league and collecting a AARP card, like having both at the same time. What a flex it would be to get an AARP card and win a league MVP in a Super Bowl. Like, what are you doing at age 50?
Oh my God. It might be a flex if you win MVP, but don't tell me.
Man, we would have to question the TB method. That's what we'd have to do.
The TB12 method. TB12. Yeah, what's really in that TB12?
That stuff
method,
works, man.
That's whatever it's due. But I will say it's not working for everybody else. A lot of the Patriots when he was there would go on that whatever sort of lifestyle he does, and eating the avocado ice cream and everything, and a lot of players got hurt right as they did it. I remember Dante Hightower on the other side of the ball during his prime days, mind you, would go on the TB12 method, and I believe this was 2016. He got hurt right after he did it. He got hurt, torn pec. So I wonder, he is a quarterback, just saying. But we are getting a little off topic. I want to get into the fan box. But you guys have any other thoughts on this? Actually, I'll touch one more thing. It's not just like being in broadcasting or anything in the media. It's not just the fact that you would need to be comfortable and have some sort of speaking skills behind a camera or a mic. It's also preparation. You need a lot of preparation, a lot of research done before you do any episode. And for those of you guys who don't know the process behind our episodes, we meet before every episode. The day before every episode, we meet and we put together a rundown and we do some research on everything that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of preparation that goes into any episode, and some things come up right before the episode. Like, for example, our last episode when we talked about Jarvis Landry to the Saints, that happened just hours before our episode. And we had to find all the different narratives, do all the different research, and that requires a lot. So there's also that. So, I mean, you don't always have the most time to research, and there's a lot of research you have to do, a lot of preparation. And there's also, if you're new, you need to practice your lines and what you're going to say, get your thoughts collected, It's not just that. Like, and maybe I'm preaching the choir here, but like, I think some fans are being way too critical about some people in the media, because it takes a lot to do what you do. And some of the guys at the pro level are doing some real serious stuff, because I mean, it's incredible. Some of the guys, what they're doing in there, and the viewership they get to speak in front of that camera. It's incredible. I will say that. But do you guys have any other thoughts before we move on to the fan box?
Look, nothing other than I doubled down on what I said earlier. Those AARP checks are still there for him. That's all I'm saying. Let's
Okay.
not risk it.
It's time to stay home, Drew Christopher Brees. Stay home
So-
with the family.
So I
That's
just want to elaborate, Jay Hill. So you think he shouldn't have any career? Just go home and spend time with the
He needs
family?
to just stay with his family. Listen, Drew Brees had a tremendous career. He played 18 or 19 years. You need to make up that time spent with your family. As simple as that. But for, we have the greatest quarterback right now, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's getting approvals from his mother, his father, and his family. They want him to continue playing the game he does. But for Drew Brees, knowing that he's not healthy where he was before he retired, he needs to stay home, be with his family. Simple as that. You made a ton of money on the field, off the field, your advertisements with Gillette and all. Just stay home. Be a family man. Had a great career, but just stay home.
So
Simple.
no NBC Sports, no
Listen,
calling games for
listen.
Notre Dame.
Listen,
Just straight up, just stay
Just-
home.
just stay home and try to be an actor. Do that. Be
I
an
think
actor.
that requires a lot a lot in itself, doesn't it?
No question. But not to get off topic, but yes, you did fail at NBC. They fired you from the part ways. That means you got fired. Just stay home. Think about it for a couple of years of what you want to do. Just be a family man. Coach your sons. Coach them for football since they love football. Simple as that. Be a family man.
All right. Well, we do need to move on. We have the fan box where we're going to actually talk about a different type of topic about our show. Just sort of giving us feedback on what you guys think. We're going to get to that next. This is the Fumblerooski Podcast.
Here's Edelman broken up, and the pass is no sign yet. Edelman comes down with a football. They're saying it's a catch. This is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Swings it way down the field to Watkins. Sammy Watkins for the touchdown!
This is the Fumblerooski Podcast by Power 88 and Fans Only Sports Network. I'm Adam Wright, Justin Tucker, Justin Hill. We have the Justins with you, and I'm here as well. And we have reached the Fumblerooski fan box. So what happens is every Monday we post a question filter on our Instagram, and you can respond with hot takes, questions, and more, and we will discuss it and give you a shout out on our podcast. Respond to next week's fan box question to be featured on our show. So the question of the week was, what suggestions do you have for us to improve our show and or our page? So we're kind of reaching the summer where it's a bit of a dead sport in the NFL, and we're sort of looking at how we can improve in preparations for next season, for the 2022 NFL season, because that's going to be a lot to cover. We've covered 2 seasons. We covered the 2020 season, 2021. And now that we've kind of built up our audience, we have a lot more followers on our Instagram page. We want to know what you guys think on on how we should improve our show. So this was an interesting question. We only got 2 responses, so we'll get right into it. So Tyson Tate, this is an interesting one, and we have been toying with this a little bit. He said, extend out a little bit for all sports like basketball or baseball. So this is, like I said, this is something that we have been looking at a little bit, because on our guest segments, we kind of left that open to sort of say, let's cover, if you want to talk for your guest segment about baseball, let's talk about some baseball, especially over the summertime. That's the perfect time to talk about baseball. There's not too much going on in the NFL, but baseball, basketball, the playoffs are heating up. The Eastern Conference Final is set. Both conference finals are set. Go Celtics. They're playing tonight at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to watch that game once this episode is over. But I do like that idea. We're looking for other ways to branch out, but we also want to kind of stay in our lane. You know what I'm saying? Because we are a football podcast, and people are going to be tuning in to listen to football. So we would like to get that in, but we still need to kind of find a balance. And we do understand that a lot of sports fans are typically fans of all four major sports, or at least a couple others. So we do have that going for us, but it's a tough one. But what do you guys think?
It's tough as far as we are a football show and we like talking about football, and it's kind of hard to talk about basketball for us, but I wouldn't mind talking about it every now and then. It's just we're generally a football show, so it's kind of hard to talk about other sports, even at a time like this where football is basically a dead sport right now. We would have to like transition and create maybe another podcast in the future to talk about basketball, but until then, we're kind of like a football podcast only.
Right, which would also be a lot of work because we already have this and this podcast, and to start another one, and to run the social media page for it, and to edit for it, and to find the time to do both. That would be tough. We would probably just have to stick with this podcast, and maybe we'll collab with other podcasts who do football, who do other sports. We'll do half of the show on football, the other half on the sport for that other podcast. We could do that, or with the guests that come on, they could talk about whatever sports they want to talk about in their guest segment. But there's plenty that we could do with that, and we have been toying with it a little bit, and branching out to other sports. Because we do understand you guys are in, a lot of you guys are interested in other sports as well, and we'd love to talk about that as well. We are fans. I'm a basketball guy and a baseball guy. Not too much into hockey, but I'm a Boston sports fan till the day I die.
Of course.
But this one was posted as a joke.
I think she's serious.
No, I think she definitely was serious. But Sarah Finnemore said, "Bring your girlfriend on. She's hot."
Mm-hmm.
So that is my girlfriend, and yeah, I mean, she could come on. Just it's and this is meant respectfully. Just I typically, if somebody wants to come onto my show to talk about sports, they might want to just know a thing or two about sports, is all.
Are you saying your girlfriend doesn't know sports? Are you saying that?
She knows a couple names. I mean, some she has family who are also big sports fans. But herself, I mean, she's a dance major. She doesn't know too much about sports. But I don't know. Maybe she wants me to quiz her on what she knows about sports. But yeah, it's a possibility. I don't know.
Maybe one day in the very distant future, but not today.
On a date to be determined, and she's listening. And she's listening and texting me as I'm speaking. I'm just saying, I don't know. But do you guys have any other suggestions on any ways we could improve our show?
Not at this moment in time. I mean, we could always be better on the mic. Try to always draw more attention to the crowd and always try to be more entertaining. But until we can have a more consistent schedule of guys around us, this is the best we can do. And I think our production won't increase for at least a while. So this is the best we can do. So hopefully sit tight and we can produce for y'all.
Certainly, guys. And we do have plenty that we are planning out as we're going for this summer. So don't worry about any sort of lack of football content, because we have plenty to preview this upcoming 2022 season. You thought this off season was crazy. The season's going to be just as crazy, because all these players moving around, we want to see how it happens. It's like a big science experiment, just seeing how this all works out. We're going to still have our player rankings. If for those of you OGs out there, if you guys were listening over last summer, we were ranking every week. We were ranking the top 5. We were doing top 10 last summer of all the skill positions. That was a fun thing that me and Justin did when it was just us two on the show. But we have that. We're going to do a couple other things. We'll give you guys what we're going to be doing, and it's going to be great. Sit tight. because opening day is a lot closer than you think. I hope you guys are all enjoying your summer, but we're going to give you, just sit back and we're going to give you all the content that you need for this upcoming football season and for the summer to hold you guys over, because we all know it's tough being a football fan during the summer. It sucks, but we're going to get you guys through it and it's going to be great. But anyways, that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for listening to us. Be sure to tune in to us live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 on Twitter and Facebook through Fans Only Sports Network. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have all our episodes available on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and so much more. Also, be sure to follow our Instagram at Fumblerooski_podcast to keep up with our podcast and the latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Over and out.
Bye-bye.